When Angus first arrived at the rescue, I remember all of us standing at his stall gate, oohing and awing over how handsome he was. Tall, well put together. But it came with some awe and trepidation because of why he was here. His current owner had just bought him sight unseen from another party, but he was ready to euthanize. We were a Hail Mary last stop for the 15-year-old former ranch horse. Why? Because the first time his new owner went to touch Angus's back, Angus swung his head and bit down hard and fast on the man's chest, ripping out the pocket of his shirt. The man's cell phone saved him from a nasty injury that could just as easily have been a chunk of missing flesh. The new owner brought in a vet and a body worker, but soon neither felt safe working around a horse with such extreme reactivity issues. Sometimes those big reactions in horses can come from something as simple as stomach ulcers, which are common in horses experiencing stress, so we hoped there might be a simple fix to the problem. Despite the initial impression of Angus's lovely conformation, however, closer inspection started to reveal some deeper reasons Angus could be lashing out. He wasn't walking evenly, which was easily traced to an overgrown, clubbed right front hoof. A clubbed foot is a defect in hoof growth, resulting in a more vertical angle of the hoof to the ground, giving it a stacked appearance in relation to other hooves. Sometimes it can be due to an injury in the hoof or higher up in the leg, and sometimes it's genetic. Properly managed, a clubbed foot isn't necessarily problematic on its own for non-performance horses. In Angus's case, however, lack of attention to his hoof trims had created severe imbalance in weight distribution across his body, likely contributing to a significant twist in the cannon bone of his hind left leg, since diagonally opposite legs are usually the ones to compensate for any defects, as well as the back pain he was clearly feeling. But that wasn't all. His back carries the telltale white spots of saddle scars from bearing the weight of improperly fitting saddles, and his lips bear scars likely from the forceful use of excessively harsh bits in his mouth. This horse had been in pain, and based on his behavior, the normal signals horses would use to communicate that pain, like ear pinning, refusing to work, reactivity to touch, had all gone ignored or even been punished. So he'd felt the need to resort to stronger ways of communicating that pain to be heard, namely outright aggression. This made our list of priorities clear. First, correct the misalignments in his body that were contributing to ongoing chronic pain. Second, help actively relieve that pain. And then third, reteach him that humans could be a source of comfort rather than pain. Our first task was getting the farrier out to start correcting the angles of his feet so that his body would be able to distribute weight on his joints more evenly. This isn't a one-time fix, however. Farriers have to strategize this realignment over the course of many months as the hoof and sole grow out, but it was a start. Thankfully, Angus didn't seem to have any problem with having his feet handled. Next, we had to get him safe enough for an equine body worker to feel comfortable working on him to help actively relieve pain in his joints and muscles. Our head trainer, Sarah, took on this task, slowly acclimating him to the idea that human touch could be pleasurable and comforting. He was clearly more sensitive in certain areas like his shoulders, back, and hind end. Once he was routinely no longer striking out at touch, our wonderful masseuse set to work releasing tension in his problem areas. We also called in a chiropractor to evaluate bone and muscle alignments. After each session with a farrier or body worker, we would watch him move, and over time he started moving more comfortably and more evenly. Throughout this process, Sarah continued to work on teaching him that humans could know how to listen to his smaller signals too, so that he could safely stop having such big reactions and also help his body and brain overcome the old habits of pain response after the pain itself was gone. Once he indicated that he was ready, Sarah reintroduced Angus to the saddle, making sure we had one that fit him comfortably. It turns out that he's quite happy being ridden and knows his basics well, but the embedded memory of former back pain from the saddle means he still reacts to the placement of the saddle on his back and a rider mounting. He's also still concerned about certain objects in his environment, like manure forks with their long stick handle, and it breaks our hearts to think of what he may have been subjected to in his past that he would be so worried about them. Horses like Angus aren't bad, They've just been dealing with the bad deal they were given in the ways they know how. Our task is to show them that a good deal is possible too. Throughout his time at the rescue, while Aengus continued to work on letting people in, he was an amazing buddy to every single one of the rescue horses, including being a companion to Chikora during her long recovery from a neurological episode, and being a mentor to baby Rio, who needed a good gelding role model. This video condenses a year's worth of work for many dedicated individuals into a few short minutes. Now that he's physically comfortable and no longer routinely exhibits aggressive tendencies, Aengus is ready for adoption, but the physical and mental scars he bears are still there, so he needs a very special someone who knows that recovery is an ongoing process and who can listen as well as they speak.